That means is that if a person buys a new house or builds a house and then all of a sudden something goes well for him, or if he has a child and then something very nice happens, or he gets married and his mazel changes, everything is good, so that's a sign that things are going to continue. And the opposite would be the opposite. Amar Rabbi Elazar, Vudas Chazak plus Zimne, it has to happen 3 times to really be a sign.
If you get married 3 times?
No. After a person gets married, if 3 good things happen, so that's a sign that this is.
Did you say you have to get married 3 times?
The Ksiv, as it says, Yosef eineno, v'Shimon eineno, v'Binyamin tikachu, that Yosef is missing and Shimon is missing, and if he takes Binyamin, then everything is just going to go from bad to worse, and nothing's ever going to be good, because that's 3 times that something bad is happening. Okay. Rav Huna asks of Rav. Rav Huna is a student of Rav, one of the main students of Rav. It's right underneath Rav. Rav Huna asks Rav, B'charuzin mahu, is it a good sign if you string the meat together? Amalei, he says, Al tishaita b'charuzin. Al tishaita maybe. Don't be foolish. B'charuzin hareis es siman. There's 2 ways of reading that in Rashi. Charuzin is, if it's strung together, that's a good sign. Taisvus points out, if you remember from that Gemara, Naphtali and Bab Metzia, they would string the fish, and there's a Tesefta that they would string the meat. So why is that considered a sign that it's yours if they would do it so common? And he's saying that over here we don't need such a big sign. It's a small sign, it's also good. You know, when we have a siman on meat and these things, so those signs are not foolproof. Like, those things you could remove possibly and put it on another one and you could fix it, and it's not foolproof. It's just the effort that goes into doing that. We don't say that someone would do that. It's clear that some things need the double sign. It's still, even with the double sign, it's not foolproof. You have the wax on top of the cork or something. It's not foolproof. I can get a cork back in and I can put wax on top. It's not like a real fingerprint, you know. It's not. It's just, who's going to go through all that effort to do that? It's good enough. Ikad Amri, some say Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav b'charuzin hareis es siman, that it wasn't a question and Rav told him back. It was Rav Huna said in the name of Rav that charuzin, if the meat is strung, that's a good sign. Rav Nachman of Narda, ikla legaber Rav Kana of Pumnara. He went to Rav Kana of Pumnara, the Mali Yom Kippuri, and it was Erev Yom Kippur. Also Arve, the ravens came and shadu kavdi v'kulyasa, and they threw down livers and kidneys. The commentaries explain that we have a custom that after kaparis we throw the innards onto the roof for the birds. Here the birds came and dropped it down. This is a source for that minhag. Amalei shkol v'chol. He says, go and eat it. I don't know who said. That's Rav Kana. Because there's a lot of permissible meat today. There's so many, everyone's shechting kaparis, or everyone's preparing for Yom Kippur. There's all the meat today is kosher, and this is probably kosher. Rav Chia Baravin itbad le karkasha. You have to read this, not beidina but beidana. He lost the intestines of the animal in between some barrels. And Asal Kami de Rav Huna, he comes to Rav Huna. Amalei Yislach Simana Begavei. Do you have a sign on it? Would you, is there a siman? You know, something of these intestines of the animal that you can tell that it's recognizable? He says, Lai. Yislach Tviyasena Begavei. Would you recognize it? That's like more of a sensory intuition, sort of, that this is the one that you had, without giving a sign. A sign would mean that you could tell someone else, oh, it weighed this amount, it was this length, it had a mark here and there. There was nothing that you could say over, but you would recognize it that that's the one. So Amalein, he says, yes, Amalei Zilshkol, so you can go take it. Apparently, he's paskening like Rav, that if you take your eyes off it, it's forbidden, unless you have a sign. And Rashi over here says, very interesting Rashi, that Rav Huna is pasking like Rav. But we don't paskin like Rav. We rely on the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that if you find, if you find meat, you could eat it. Even though we said that was talking about where someone was standing and watching it. Rashi says that was a doichek. That was a pushed, it was a squeezed answer. That wasn't, the Gemara just wanted to avoid a question. So it said that, but it doesn't really mean that that's the pshat. We always say the halacha is like Rav in rituals, in laws, not monetary issues. The Isuri, the halacha is like Rav. He says that's only if he's arguing with Shmuel, but not when he's arguing with the Mishnah. And okay, and Rav Kana before said you can eat it. It was clear from Rav Kana. Rav Kana said that the meat that was dropped from the ravens you could eat. Now it says Rav Chanina Chazah itbadlei gabab de bisra. Rav Chanina Chazah, he lost the side of an animal. Asal kamid Rav Nachman. He comes to Rav Nachman. Amaliyas chasimana begavei. Do you have a sign on it that it's the original one? Amalei, I don't have a sign. Would you recognize it that it's yours? That it was that one? Amalayin. He says, yeah, I'm in Kain Zilshkol. Go take it. Rav Nassan bar Abaye itbadlei kibura de techelta. Rav Nassan bar Abaye lost the ball of tchelas. He still had tchelas in the time of the Gemara. I read, no.
Surprise.
Huh?
It's a surprise.
Yeah. There was recently a video, I rented it from my class in most music. You can rent Jewish videos. It was about tchelas. And in there they quoted from Justinian, that Justinian said that no one else is allowed to use blue or purple. It's only for the royalty. And it was like a rule. Justinian must have been in 600, no? When was Justinian? Theodora and Justinian. I don't know when that was. So it could be that we lost the tcheles when it was illegal to use. So anyway, he lost the ball of tcheles. Asla kami de Rav Chizda. He comes to Rav Chizda. Amalei yisplasimana begavei. Do you have a sign? Amalei loy eschat v'yaseina begavei. Would you recognize it? Amaleyin. He says im kain zilshkol. You can go take it. Apparently there's a vegetable type of tcheles, which was called kala ilan, which was much cheaper.
We learned that before, right?
In Menachos we learned about it. That was like a fake tcheles. So it was unclear if this was a real tcheles or the fake tcheles. The real tcheles comes from a snail, possibly, or this came from
what's the vegetable called?
Murex or something. Oh no, the kala ilan is the vegetable.
Yeah, I took bakilayon. Isn't that the real snail's name?
I don't know.
Chilazon.
Chilazon,
yeah.
This
is kala ilan.
Similar.
Yeah, they even switched the name. So he had to know that this was the kosher one. Amar Rava. Rava says, Mereisha hava amina. Originally, I thought simana adif mitviyaseina, that to give a sign that's better than a tviyasayin, than to recognize. That why? The hamadrina navedeta v'simana. And logically, because if someone loses an object, someone else finds it. So the finder would give it back if the person says, give me a sign, and he gives the right sign. And he doesn't give it back if the person says, I recognize it. So it must be that the sign is more significant. Tosfos points out that why should that be a proof? The reason why you don't use a sign is because maybe the guy's lying. That you don't use tviya signs because maybe the guy's lying. But if he gives a sign, then he knows the information. You say, oh, I recognize it. So, but the Gemara over there says that it's sort of a Rabbanan, a Torah scholar, you can trust him that he's not going to lie if he says, I recognize it. Awesome. So, okay, anyway, there's different sort of tviya sign.
Like when they announce, anybody loses gold or Rolex in a 12 scholar said, "Oh yes, I recognize that."
Right.
Keep the simanim quiet.
So hashta the shematinu alahani shmaitza. But now that I learned these halachas, I mean it tviyaseina adifa. I'm seeing that to recognize it is better. If we're not going to say this, how could a blind person be permitted to live with his wife? He can't. There's no sign. It must be that he recognizes her voice. How could any person be mutter with their wife balayla if it's dark? It must be that it's recognition of other recognitions, not something a visual sign, a birthmark or something. The kala, the tviyasayin of the kala of the voice. So hachanam tviyasayin, it has to be that tviyasayin recognize is valid, is strong. Amar Rav Yitzchak Breder Rav Misharshi Yateda. Rav Yitzchak, the son of Rav Misharshi, says, "I'll bring you a proof. Diluasi betray or betray. If two people come, Bamri Planya, they say that so and so, the high simani of a high simani, that has this and this sign, and this sign. He has his teeth are like this, his eyes are like that. So this person, no name, and katal nafshi, he killed someone. Like Katlinale, we're not going to kill the person that has buck teeth and blue eyes. We're not going to do. Ve'ilo amri, but if they say islay tviyaseinu begavei, we recognize him. So then Katlinale, he's going to get killed because there were witnesses. Amravashi Tate, I'll bring you another proof. Dilo amalei inish l'shluchei. A person tells his messenger, Karya leplanya, the high simani v'high simani. Go call for me this person that looks like this and like that. He gives him signs. So Safik Yadalei, Safik La Yadalei. It's possible, it's a doubt. Will he find him? Will he not find him? But if he recognizes him, even without any signs, it says, call so-and-so that you recognize. So Kichaz La Yadalei, as soon as he sees him, he knows it. So the simanim are strong. I mean, the tviyas ayin is strong. The recognition is strong. Okay.
I have to just say, there was a situation I was in once where they asked me, they showed me a picture of somebody with a beard, and they asked me if the guy in front of me had a beard, and they showed me a picture of a person without a beard, and they wanted to prove that wasn't the same person. I said, come on, look at this picture and look at the man. Are they the same person? And I said, yes. And they said, how could you say that? Obviously, it doesn't look like it. I said, oh, because this picture was taken a few years ago. And I knew the guy a few years ago, and he didn't have a beard then. So I know that's him. So, I mean, it's very similar here.
Just like in the Torah, right?
Recognizing the person, even though it doesn't have the matching sign.
Very interesting. In the Torah, Yosef with the brothers, they didn't recognize
with the beard.
Because he had the beard. They came to me. I was robbed. They came to me. I saw the guy in the house, but
was there a canal story?
Yeah.
he was on TV, right?
I didn't hear this.
Yeah. So anyway,
with the recent. Go ahead.
Yeah, like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
When you moved in.
So anyway, they came to the detectives came to me afterwards with these pictures. You can't look at the clothing. You can't look at the hairstyle. You can't just from the face. I couldn't recognize anything. I wasn't. You see for a second. I'm going to recognize without the. You only see these external, the hair, the clothing,
right. Don't stare at the face.
What he was carrying. That's what you recognize. Okay.
What, your TV set?
His car. You lost your car, right?
He took my car, but he dropped it off at Yaniv's house.
Oh, really?
And then he went running.
I told Yaniv not to hire that guy.
They had, just real fast, they had, when I was working in medical in amateur hospitals, a nurse, so this was working in geriatric psychiatry. This patient had fallen, and make a long story short, the person was like a little bit out of it. They put a cast on the broken leg. So I come in the next day, and the aide tells me, calls me to the side and says, that's not the leg that she broke. She broke the other leg. I'm like, how can that happen? So I figured, how did they cast the wrong leg? So during my lunchtime, I went down to radiology, and I gave a look, and I see that there was 2 X-rays. They had read an X-ray of her broken leg. She broke that leg 2 years ago, but they were looking at the wrong year. They looked at the person, the patient. It's the right patient, the right leg, correct fracture, and they casted that leg. And then, but that was like the wrong year. The one that she broke yesterday, that was the other leg. So I had to go back and tell the doctor, you casted the wrong leg and you looked at the wrong X-ray, and they fixed it. They didn't tell the family or anything.
And she became a multi-million?
No, they didn't say anything to anybody, and they just took her down, took off the cast, put the cast on the other leg. And just,
happens all the time.
Oh no. I hope not. Okay. The Mishnah says, Hanaitel Gidanasha. Someone that takes out the Gidanasha, he has to take it all out. This is the opinion of Reb Meir that says you have to dissect, you have to dig in after it and get all of the little pieces. Rabbi Yehuda Kadei L'Kaim by Mitzvahs Netila. You have to do the mitzvah of Netila, which Rabbi Yehuda's opinion was you just cut off what's on top of the piece of meat or fat that's there, the round piece. Imashufi was the word that the Gemara used before. Someone eats a kazayas of the gidanasha, an olive size. So Sefer Garbaim, he gets malchus, 40 lashes. Achluvein by kazayas, let's say he eats the whole gidanasha, but there was no kazayas there, it was a small animal. So we learned this Mishnah before, it was quoted before, now it's the original. That says this chayav, the opinion of the Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda is not going to say that. Achal mizeh mizeh, achal mizeh kazayas and mizeh kazayas. Let's say you eat from this side kazayas and from the other side of kazayas. Seifik Shemainim, you get malchus twice. Rabbi Yehuda Amina Seifik al Arbon. Rabbi Yehuda says you only get malchus once because Rabbi Yehuda holds that the Gidanash is only in one leg, not in both legs. Which leg was it? We said it was the right leg.
Right.
And we weren't sure exactly if he knew that definitively, or if it was just logically it was the right. Bar Piuli, Havikoi Kamei de Shmuel. The Gemara says that there was Bar Piuli, he was standing in front of Shmuel, V'kamenaker Atma. And he was cleaning off the Atma. Atma is the femur. Buka de Atma. It's the socket, the head of the femur that goes. Atma is, he was cleaning off that bone. Havikagoimlay, and he was just cutting off the top of it, like Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. He says, Shmuel says, go deeper. If I didn't see you now, you would have fed me treif. Yertis, he gets all nervous, and nafal sakinim yad, and he drops the knife. I don't know why that detail is significant here, but Amalei, Shmuel says, Leitiertis, don't be afraid. The Eirlach Rabbi Yehuda. The Eirlach, Rabbi Yehuda Eirlach. The one that taught you, paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. You didn't do, you just, paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. It's a different opinion. It's not, don't get all
nervous.
Too traceled.
It's been the first day on the job,
Could be. So Amar Rav Sheshes says, my deshakal bar piuli, the Iraisa l'Rabbi Yehuda. What Bar Piuli was taking off, was biblically forbidden according to Rabbi Yehuda. Now that expression is a little strange because Mechlal, that implies the Shia de Rabbanan l'Rabbi Yehuda, because he was leaving what was forbidden rabbinically according to Rabbi Yehuda. The fact that he said that, he was taking off what was biblically prohibited. So Ella, rather, what Rav Sheshes says is first the Gemara questions, the Eirle Kaman Eirle, the one that taught Bar Piuli, which opinion did he teach him? Because he wasn't teaching him according to Rabbi Yehuda either, because he was leaving what was rabbinically forbidden. Ella Amar Rav Sheshes, rather, the expression of Rav Sheshes is slightly different. My the Shakal Bar Piuli, this that Bar Piuli was taken, the Iraisa was, what's this aleph? The Iraisa l'Rab Meir, he wants us to add in, was biblically forbidden according to Rab Meir. My the Shire, and what he left, the Rabbanan l'Rab Meir, was rabbinically forbidden according to Rab Meir. The Rabbi Yehuda, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, Afilu Rabbanan Shari, it was permissible rabbinically as well. That was left there. Okay. He said in the Mishnah that if someone eats from the Gidanasha Kazayas, he gets Malkus. If he eats the whole thing and there's no Kazayas, then he also gets Malkus. That's the opinion of the rabbis. Amar Shmuel says, Layasur Torah Shalakaf. Shmuel says that the Torah only forbade what's on the kaf, on the spoon, which is the round part of the femur. But I think it's referring to the round meat that's on top of the femur. Bilvad. Shnemer al kaf hayarech, on the spoon of the thigh. Spoon means the what's it called? Concave.
The socket?
No, it's referring to the round meat. That's what they translate it. Kaf basar hasayv vesakulas. It's the flesh that surrounds the kulas, the femur. So that round sort of meat, which we saw over here. Can I use this?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's this round meat. That's considered the kaf. Over there you see it in the. That's what I understood.
It's on the thigh, or it's on the pelvis? It's on the thigh.
Here you see it again. Kaf hayarech. Here you see it, and they pointed out kaf hayarech. You see they pointed that kaf hayarech. That round meat. That's considered the kaf. Bluish. Wow. Interesting. Okay. So that's what Shmuel says. The only part that's forbidden is what's on the kaf. Amar Rav Papa says kitanoi. It's actually a machlekes tanoi. Now usually when we say kitanoi, it's a problem. Because why do we have a statement of Amiroim that's repeating a machlekes tanoi? It's a lema kitanoi, let us say that it's a machlekes tanoim. And then the Gemara answers no. It's what they're arguing about is different than what the earlier sages, because it doesn't need to repeat a machlekes. And over here, we're saying no, it is a machlekes tanoim, and we're not asking it as a question. It's interesting that the Gemara does this. It says we learned before, and this is a Tosefta, achlu ve'ein by kazayas chayev. If he eats it and there's no kazayas, there is chayev. And Rabbi Yehuda Aimer ad sheyeh by kazayas. Rabbi Yehuda says you need to have a kazayas. We're going to go through this explanation here of this machlekes, the Rabbanan and Rabbi Yehuda, and it's going to come out that the Rabbanan hold like Shmuel, or Shmuel holds like the Rabbanan, that the Gid Hanash is only on that spoon, and Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold of Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda holds the Gid Hanash is much longer. So, my time with the Rabbanan. What's the reason for the Rabbanan that say that if you don't have a kazayas, you're still chayiv? They say, beria b'fnei atzmehi. I don't know if I'm supposed to add those words in. Beria, that it's a beria. Beria means that it's a full entity.
A full animal, a whole entity.
It's a whole
living
entity.
Thing.
And you're chayiv for a whole entity. What does Rabbi Yehuda say? Rabbi Yehuda achila ksivbe. It says in the pasuk, al kain lo yoichle b'nei Yisrael. It says achila. And anywhere where it says the word achila, it's always a kazayas. All the prohibitions in the Torah, don't eat this, don't eat that, it's always a kazayas. But Rabbanan and chametz over there, you have a problem of owning it, and you're asking that why is it not bottle? It's not bottle b'mashahu. That has to do with the Yisur Karis because of the severity of it.
I'm saying there's an example someplace where it says
no, but if someone eats a mashahu, it doesn't mean that he's going to incur the punishment of the prohibition, even by chametz. It's prohibited, but I think over there it has to do with. First of all, it's a davar sheish lamatir. There's two reasons it brings: either because of the chaymer of karas, or it's a davar sheish lamatirin that makes it never bottle because it becomes permissible later after Pesach. At least midaraisa. I think that's the. But anywhere where it says don't eat, it's always a kazayas. Rabbi Yehuda has a pasuk. For Rabbanan, what do the Rabbanan do with that pasuk of a kazayas of achila, which tells me a kazayas? Ahi achila de ispe arba v'chamisha zeisim v'achal chad kazayas mechayev. That achila is talking about if the gid anasha is very long, it has 4 or 5 kazaysim of the gid anasha, and you ate only one of them, you're chayav for that kazayas as well. The Rabbanan say that it doesn't need to be a kazayas, but you had to eat the whole thing. The Rabbanan also used the word achila. For Rabbi Yehuda, how does Rabbi Yehuda know that you don't need to eat the whole gid hanasha? Me'asher al kafa yerech nafka. He learns that it says from what's on the kafa yerech, which means that you're not eating the whole thing. Just if you eat one part of it, if it's a kazayas, that's already a prohibition. For Rabbanan, what do the Rabbanan do with al kafa yerech, which tells me that I don't need to eat the whole thing? According to the Rabbanan, they anyways know you don't eat the whole thing because they said that it says achila. Achila means that even if you don't eat the whole thing, it's just the kazayas. Ahumi bayle kedishmuel. They use the verse al kafa yerech, which Rabbi Yehuda uses to tell me you don't, even if you don't eat the whole thing, you're still chayiv. They use it for what Shmuel says. Damar Shmuel le'yasoter el shal kafa yerech. Here we see that the Rabbanan are the opinion of Shmuel. Shmuel says the gid hanasha is only on that piece, only on that kafa yerech. For Rabbi Yehuda says ha yerech ksiv the kula yerech. No, the gid hanasha is much longer. So in other words, he uses al kafa yerech to tell me you don't need to eat the whole thing. So how big is the gid? The whole along the whole thigh. For Rabbanan, what did the Rabbanan do with the word hayerech? Hahud pashat leisur b'kula yerech. It's talking about the gid hanasha that's very long, that goes through the whole thigh, even though the prohibition is only on part of it. But which yerech, which gid? It's the one that extends all the way down, lafukechitz and delay, as opposed to the outer gid, which we said doesn't go all the way. Uli olam shalakaf. But really, it's only prohibited what's on the kaf. Okay. We had a Mishnah before, at the beginning of the perek, that it says shir al kafa yerech, that the gid hanasha of a bird is not obligated, is not prohibited because a bird doesn't have a kaf. It doesn't have it's not round over there. We said that it's over there. We explained it as the bone, and over here we're explaining it as the flesh. So the Gemara says trei kaf ksiv. It says that it says twice kaf yerech Yaakov, and it says kaf yerech. It says twice kaf. One teaches me not a bird. The other one teaches me that it's only prohibited what's on that. But whatever the case is, Shmuel has a source for, and that source is the Rabbanan, as opposed to Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Okay, now, for those of you that have learned the Yeridaya, the Isser V'Heter, the Smicha, it starts right here. This is when you learn for Smicha, you start this Mishnah. Everything here is significant. Every little nuanced Rashi Taisvis is brought down and over there, and this is what they ask you questions on. Yerech shenisbashal b'gid hanasha. The Mishnah says a thigh that gets cooked, and they didn't remove the gid hanasha.
Wow.
Now, it was Erev Shabbos. He called the rabbi. I have guests coming. And the thigh. This is what we're serving.
My wife told me to do it. I forgot.
It was what do we do now? Im yesh ba b'nais tam. If you could taste in the rest of the thigh the flavor of the gid. Now, the truth is, you're not going to be able to taste it because it's all meat. So we're going to see how to do it.
Supposedly you never tasted it.
And it could be you don't even taste it, but we'll see. Oh, you never tasted it, so you don't even know what it tastes like.
Right.
But it tastes different.
We don't know.
Or it doesn't have any taste.
So it's aser. The Gemara says, it doesn't have a taste, it's a machlekes. Kates and Mishar Naisa, how do you measure it? So it says kabasar belefes. You do is like this. You imagine that the gid hanasha is meat, and you imagine that the rest of the thigh is turnip, the vegetable. And how much meat would you need to flavor the turnip? If you were making a chullin with meat and turnip, how much meat would you be able to taste in the turnip? The small amount of meat. So, which the sages tell us is 1 in 60. That's where it comes from. So, if it's 1 in 60, then of meat to gid, to the gid, 1 in 60 of the thigh to the gid, so then it would be permissible. Are we going to use...
But the gid doesn't dissolve, though.
No, you're going to need to take it out. You're going to need to take out the gid. The question is, the flavor of the gid has gone over there. That's what we'll see in a moment. Taisvis over here says, let's jump right in. Taisvis says that you can't use the gid itself to measure. You also have to measure. In other words, you're going to now cut out the gid. You're going to see how big it is, and you're going to the way we're going to do this is water displacement, like Archimedes. You're going to put it in, see how much water comes out, and then you put this in, see how much water. You'll see if there's 1 in 60, like that. But Taisva says that part of the gid already made some of the meat aser, because when you salted the meat before you put it in the pot, the salting, the flavor of the gid has already gone into a klipa, a peel of the meat that's around it. So you're going to need to use the klipa as well. So it's gid plus klipa into the meat. Klipa is a peel, a part that you can cut off with one slice and still hold it. Like you slice a watermelon very thin. Any thinner than that, and it's not one piece. So in the meat, you have to, anything that could be cut in one slice and still be held like that. However, Taisus then says that there is an opinion of Rabbeinu Ephraim that holds that we don't say Chatich Nasas Levela B'Shari Surim. Only by Basar B'Chalav does both the meat and the milk become prohibited. But over here I have gid and I have meat. How much gid is there? Whatever there is. I don't say that now the meat that's around the gid is also now prohibited. I don't say that.
But it doesn't become...
But I don't have to use that when I'm measuring in 60 because there's never any more Isser than there was originally. The Isser doesn't get enlarged because first it was salted. Okay, now there's more Isser because it's spread out. Now I cook it. Now I have more than the original Isser. Rabbeinu Ephraim holds you, we don't say that. Okay.
By the way, when you said the thing about the slice,
right.
I was imagining the deli
right.
slice.
The deli slice,
right. Thin sliced turkey or whatever.
Right.
And they have to make it thin, but if it would fall apart, it would be too thin. So
right. Very good. Right. That's a kedei klipa. Very interesting.
Choosing food. That's crazy.
Choosing food.
Now, there is a machlekes here.
I'm salivating already.
That's a very good imagery. Thank you.
It's too early in the morning.
Very good imagery.
Taisvis
It's like
says...
my shul, I don't understand how they make it so thin.
Not too thin.
Taisvis says that there's a machlekes Rashi and Taisvis, Rashi and the Ri, if when we say that you need 1 in 60 here, if you're able to use the rest of the pot as well, or if you can only use the gid, the yerech itself. Is it 1 in 60 in everything here,